Are you feeling frustrated because the more you chase your goals, the more they seem out of reach? What if I told you the secret to achieving your deepest desires isn't in holding on tightly, but in letting go? In today's video, we're going to explore how the principle of detachment holds the key to manifesting what you truly want in life. Together, we'll learn why clinging too tightly blocks our desires, how to practice detachment, and how this powerful mindset shift can transform your reality. One of the great paradoxes of life is that the more we chase something, the further it seems to slip away. This is a phenomenon most of us have experienced in various aspects of our lives, whether it's trying to land a job, pursuing the perfect relationship, or striving for a personal goal. The more we fixate on the outcome, the more elusive it becomes. But why does this happen? Think of it this way. Imagine that you're trying to hold onto water in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster. It escapes between your fingers. Desires function much the same way. When we become overly attached to achieving something, our focus shifts from the joy of the process to an anxious need for control over the result. This attachment creates tension, stress, and fear of failure, energies that block the very things we're trying to attract. Ram Dass, a revered spiritual teacher, often shared a story that illustrates this concept well. He recounted a story from India where monkeys are trapped by placing nuts in a jar with a narrow opening. The monkey reaches into the jar, grabs the nuts, and then realizes it cannot pull its hand out without letting go. But the monkey's attachment to the nuts prevents it from releasing them, leaving it trapped. The message of the story is simple yet profound. Attachment leads to suffering. Detachment leads to freedom. So, ask yourself, what are you holding on to so tightly that it's keeping you stuck? Perhaps it's a relationship, a career, or even a vision of the future that's causing you to feel trapped. Just hearing the wisdom of letting go isn't enough. You need to internalize it and shift your entire approach to life. At this point, you might be asking, what does it really mean to let go? Does that mean I should stop caring about my goals, relationships, or dreams? Not at all. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference or withdrawal from life, but in reality, it's the opposite. True detachment is about engaging deeply with life, but without being tied to the outcomes. It's the ability to pursue goals and desires while maintaining a sense of inner peace, regardless of whether or not those desires come to fruition. Think of detachment as a way to free yourself from emotional turbulence. It's not about caring less, it's about caring differently. Let's look at an example from ancient spiritual wisdom. The Bhagavad Gita, one of the most revered spiritual texts, speaks directly to this concept. In the text, Lord Krishna advises Arjuna to act without attachment to the results. Krishna explains that it's not the outcome of the action that should motivate us, but the action itself. Acting rightly for its own sake, without fixating on success or failure. This is true detachment, being fully engaged in life, but without letting the external results define your worth or happiness. Think about a time when you were deeply immersed in a project or activity that brought you joy. Perhaps it was a creative endeavor or a hobby. In those moments, you weren't focused on the end result, but rather on the process of creation. That's what detachment feels like. You're still fully engaged, but you're free from the anxiety of needing a specific outcome. We often cling to desires because we believe that achieving them will bring us happiness, security, or validation. But here's the truth. Happiness is an inside job. If we're constantly seeking external validation or outcomes to feel whole, we'll never be truly content. The more we attach our sense of self-worth to external achievements, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment. Think about how often you've worked tirelessly towards something, only to feel unfulfilled once you achieved. It, or worse, felt like it wasn't enough. Whether it's money, a promotion, or a relationship, if your sense of happiness is tied to external outcomes, you're bound to feel a sense of emptiness at some point. Detachment helps us realize that true happiness and well-being come from within, not from possessions, achievements, or the approval of others. The goal isn't to stop desiring things, but rather to reframe how we approach those desires. Detachment allows us to enjoy the journey without being consumed by the destination. Let's pause for a moment to reflect. What are you clinging to that is causing you unnecessary suffering? It could be a toxic relationship, an old grudge, or even a fear of failure. The very act of acknowledging these attachments is the first step toward liberation. Now that we've explored the concept of detachment, let's move on to the practical steps of how to practice it in your daily life. The first stage is acknowledgment. Before we can let go, we need to become fully aware of what we are holding on to. Acknowledgment is the act of recognizing your attachments without judgment. This stage is crucial because it sets the foundation for all the work that follows. Often, we resist acknowledging our attachments because we see them as weaknesses. We tell ourselves that admitting to our desires or dependencies makes us vulnerable. But in truth, acknowledgement is a form of strength. It's the first step toward freedom. For example, if you're desperately chasing a promotion at work, take a moment to pause and observe your feelings. Ask yourself, why is this promotion so important to me? What emotions come up when I think about it? You might notice feelings of anxiety, tension, or fear. These are clues that reveal your attachment to the EQ outcome. Acknowledgement doesn't mean you should suppress these emotions. Instead, allow them to surface. Notice where they manifest in your body. Does your chest feel tight? Is your heart racing? These physical sensations are signals that your attachment is causing emotional stress. Take time to sit in a quiet space, close your eyes, and reflect on your attachment. Breathe deeply and simply observe the emotions that arise without trying to change them. By acknowledging your feelings, you take the first step toward releasing them. Once you've acknowledged your attachment, it's time to dive deeper. The second stage in the process of detachment is self-inquiry. This step is about understanding the roots of your attachments, peeling back the layers to discover why you hold on to certain desires or outcomes so tightly. Through self-inquiry, you begin to uncover the deeper motivations behind your attachments. Let's revisit the example of chasing a promotion at work. Why is this promotion so important to you? Is it just about career growth? Or is there a deeper need for validation? Maybe your desire for the promotion is tied to an unresolved feeling of not being good enough, a belief that you've carried since childhood. Perhaps growing up, you didn't receive much praise or recognition, and now you're seeking external validation through your career. Self-inquiry helps you identify these underlying emotions. Ask yourself open-ended questions like, why do I want this so badly? What am I hoping to gain? What fears arise if I don't achieve this? What am I really seeking? Recognition, security, approval. By asking these questions, you begin to see that the attachment is often less about the external goal itself and more about an internal need. Once you've identified the underlying emotion, It becomes easier to let go of the attachment because you recognize that your well-being doesn't depend on the external outcome. Self-inquiry is a process that takes time and patience. It's not about finding immediate answers, but rather about exploring your emotions with curiosity and compassion. As you continue to ask yourself these questions, you'll start to uncover patterns and stories that have shaped your desires. Now that you've acknowledged and explored the roots of your attachment, it's time for the next stage: processing. Processing is about coming to terms with your feelings and allowing yourself to release the emotional weight they carry. This step requires a shift in mindset. Every experience, whether it resulted in success or failure, holds value. Processing is about recognizing that even the experiences that didn't go your way have contributed to your growth. Let's use an example. Imagine you've just ended a long-term relationship and you're struggling with feelings of loss and disappointment. Processing these emotions involves taking a step back and asking yourself, what did I learn from this experience? Perhaps the relationship taught you more about your boundaries, your needs, or your communication style. Even though the relationship didn't last, it provided valuable lessons. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's a concept called karma yoga, which is the practice of selfless action. It teaches that we should focus on our actions without becoming attached to the fruits of those actions. This philosophy reminds us that life is a journey, and it's not the outcome of each experience that defines us, but the growth and lessons we gain along the way. Processing also involves self-compassion. Be gentle with yourself as you let go of attachments. Forgive yourself for any perceived mistakes, and remind yourself that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time. Processing helps clear the emotional baggage of past experiences, making it easier to move forward with a lighter heart. With a clearer understanding of your attachments, you are now ready to take creative action. This stage is about moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose and enthusiasm, no longer burdened by the neediness that once held you back. Creative action means engaging with your goals from a place of joy and curiosity, rather than desperation. It's about shifting your focus from the outcome to the process, and in doing so, you often find that the results come more naturally than when you were obsessively chasing them. For example, instead of constantly stressing about getting a promotion to validate yourself, focus on the aspects of your work that truly excite you. What projects bring out your creativity? What tasks allow you to shine? By channeling your energy into these areas, you're likely to become more productive and valuable, and the promotion may follow as a natural progression. This is where the concept of flow comes in. Flow is the state of being fully immersed in an E2IT activity, where time seems to disappear and you're completely engaged in the task at hand. When you're in a state of flow, you're not focused on the outcome. You're simply enjoying the process. To cultivate flow in your life, set clear but achievable goals. Break down larger tasks into smaller, manageable steps so you can focus on one thing at a time. By doing so, you'll find it easier to stay present and enjoy the journey. Additionally, remain open to new opportunities. Sometimes the path to your goal may not be a straight line. Be flexible and willing to adapt as life unfolds. Detachment allows you to stay open to unexpected possibilities without being rigidly attached to a specific outcome. The art of detachment doesn't lead to a lack of passion or experience. It allows us to live life more fully and authentically. Remember, letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. When you embrace detachment, you'll find that your deepest desires have the space to manifest. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your experiences in the comments. Here's to your journey of freedom and fulfillment.